going to show you how to set the IP address for your virtual machine, and this is so that we can use PuTTY to access our virtual instead of having to use it remotely. So first thing, I'm gonna highlight my virtual machine. Mine's already running, so I don't have to hit the play button. But if yours is not running, you'll have to start it. I'm gonna hit the little window to pop it out. So I'm gonna get the console. So I'm gonna show you the easy way to do this in the GUI. Although later in the semester we're gonna learn how to do this at the command line. But just to not get ahead of ourselves, I'll show you the easy way to do it from the GUI, just like you would in maybe a Windows machine. So I'm going to click on my virtual, and I'm just going to click on student to log in, put in my student password. So it'll take a second, and then your desktop will come up. So I'm going to click on System, and then Preferences. So System Preferences. I'm going to find Network Connections. So it's going to bring up my network connections. I only have one network interface. I'm going to double click on it, and I'll get the configuration wizard that comes up. Specifically, I'm looking for IP version 4 settings. So I'm going to click IP version 4. You're going to set it should be set to automatic DHCP. We're going to change it to manual. So you're going to select manual for the method for IP version 4. And then down here for the address, I'll delete mine so I can show you. So your addresses are going to be blank. You're going to add a new address. You're going to click on add, and then it's going to be 192.168.2. And the last octet is going to be the first 2 digits in your Drexel ID. So for example, my Drexel ID is BCG28. So that's my email and my Drexel ID. So the first 2 digits for me are 28. All of you have at least 2 digits in your ID, and none of the first 2 overlap. So you should be fine. If they did overlap, I would have sent you an email and given you a different number to use. So I'm going to set mine to the first 2 of my Drexel ID. The net mask is going to be 24, so /24 for the net mask, and you don't need to put a gateway in, so you can leave the gateway blank. We're almost done. So once we set this IP address, we have it set to manual. One more step. Up here at the top where it says connect automatically, you're going to make sure that this is selected. So make sure you check the box that says connect automatically. Everything else we can leave the same. So again, the changes are connect automatically. Under IP version 4, we're going to set it to manual. And then we're going to plug in the address with using the last octet as the first 2 of your Drexel ID, and the net mask is 24. So once you make all these changes, you're going to go down here and you're going to click the apply button. So down here you'll see the apply button, and you'll be able to click that to make the changes. Now you'll notice once you click apply, it's going to come up and ask you to put the root password in. So you can't make this change unless you're root. So I'm going to put in the top secret root password, which for me is Goodwin, spelled with some strange characters in it. So I'm going to put my password in for root, click authenticate, and that's it. So now I should have that new IP address. Just to verify on my system, just to show you, I'm going to type ifconfig, and you'll see here that I do have an IP now, because this is my old one, but when I reboot, it should get the new one. And just to find out, I'm going to go ahead and reboot the system so that we can give it a try. So I'm going to go down. Actually, instead of doing it that way, I want to do a reboot. So I'm just going to type reboot. So that should bring the system down, and then it'll come back up. Okay, so my system's coming back up. It's going to take just a second. All right, so there we go. So it's back up. I got my login prompt. But instead of logging in on this remote system, I don't even need to use this system. I can just close this at this point. So now when I log in to the virtual lab environment, I could just make sure that the Linux machine is running, and instead of opening up the console window and trying to work with it in the console window, I could just come over here to PuTTY, double click on PuTTY. I'm going to put in the IP address to my machine, which is 192.168.2.28. And if I want to save this, I'll call it BCG28 virtual. So I'll save it. That way it's in my list and I don't have to type the IP address again. I'm just going to double click on it. And now it's going to open a PuTTY, an SSH session. So when you get this little window that comes up, just hit yes to accept the certificate. I'm going to go ahead and log in as root. So I'm going to put root and then my strange password. And there we go. I'm logged in as root. I can type who to see who's logged in. I can check my current directory. And all the other stuff that we talk about in class will work. So this is obviously a lot easier than having to access the machine. If all you need to use is the terminal, the command line, then you don't need to actually go in and open up your virtual machine and all that stuff. Since it's a static IP address, the only thing you should have to do is if your machine is stopped, just go ahead and highlight it and hit play, And then you don't even have to open the console. You could just go right into SSH and start using your virtual machine. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.